Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. We're here with our Royal Rumble special. I'm your co-host Krusty, and I'm here as always with Fisher.
Hello.
And Keeney.
Hey guys.
And our not so special guest, because he's been here before. We're back with Tizzle.
I think it's the hat trick now, isn't it?
Yeah, match ball for you.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the whole Rumble card, explain our thoughts and sort of the key points of last night's Royal Rumble. So I think we've got to start with the bottom of the card, but definitely not the bottom. Fisher showing off some lovely merch there. Yeah. We had Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, and I think we just have to start with how our man Seth entered. So,
this is amazing! Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
I went mad when I heard the Shield theme tune here. I went mental.
I full gear on the full gear.
Yeah, coming through the crowd and like his mannerisms, not only his mannerisms but Roman's as well. Roman's face when the music dropped was amazing.
Yeah,
it was like, I can't believe it.
I've not seen something that looks so in your head as this sort of the psychiatric effect this looked to have on Roman. The way they both worked together was just absolutely incredible. As Keeney said, the face of Roman, Seth just almost psychotic, isn't he? Just laughing, just constantly, absolutely loving it. You can tell as wrestlers they are both enjoying the storyline so much. But none of us even expected this. I know a lot of the time we'll throw out predictions left, right, and centre. I'm terrible for it, but none of us said we think this is going to happen.
I'd like to know if Roman knew.
Yeah, he definitely reacted like he didn't.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to break into a smirk, and then obviously had to pull his angry face. But I'd like to know who else knew about it, because the reactions to it were mad.
Yeah,
so good.
And obviously that kind of plays into the actual match itself when he did the Shield powerbomb early on Roman.
That was amazing. Seth sort of ruined him for like the first 5 minutes, didn't he?
He was dominating.
He was absolutely slaying him. He hit everything. Then we had a Shield bomb, a frog splash.
Frog splash.
Frog splash.
A frog splash. Sorry. Frog splash, buckle bomb, and even a stomp. And we were discussing it this afternoon. The way Roman Reigns kicks out, we thought Seth had it in that first 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah, he legit had to be going. I thought he's done it. I can't believe Seth's going to beat him in 5 minutes. But yeah, just amazing from Roman. And it wasn't his only near full kick out of the match. Did such a good job. And I guess kind of the story played out where Roman turned the match around and then started, dominating Seth. It's kind of a match of two halves, wasn't it? I think it was like Seth in control.
There was the back and forth as well, because you had that sort of Seth's new sort of signature move against a spear where he turns it into a pedigree, which I absolutely love it. He did it against Edge, but it doesn't get old. And that was, again, another near fall by Roman, which looked so convincing. He could have won it at any moment, and I don't think there would have been any complaints because it was just so convincing, this match. And then just obviously Seth just constantly getting in his head, laughing at him. Even when he was literally getting the hell kicked out of him, he was just sort of...
I was going to say, when he almost no-sold the spear and then was just laughing and offered the fist bump, that I just thought...
the fist bump,
yeah. Yeah, that was...
Symbolism in this match was insane.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that could have made it better is if you had John Moxley come out and be the third person. That would have been insane, but...
special guest enforcer or something.
Yeah.
Even just dress someone up. Dress up Becky Lynch as Moxley or something.
I know we don't really do top marks and skip marks for just pay-per-views, but if we were, this would 100%, this match in general, but Seth Rollins in this show, oh my word, the storytelling he did through this match was incredible. Every little thing he did was symbolic. And even as much as after the match, when Roman hit Seth with the chair, he even falls the same way Roman did when Seth did it to him back in the day. And I just thought it was from start to finish, that was spot on.
The detail was amazing, wasn't it?
Incredible.
It's great when WWE actually use past stories, because sometimes they just completely ignore it and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going back sort of 7 years now, aren't we? And the video packages that we've had over the last few weeks just really built to this moment. And I know we've said this before, it's just a shame it's sort of been this small and it almost feels like it's over already, which is such a shame because it's been absolute gold.
Is it over already though?
Well,
we'll get.
We don't know.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. But
Yeah.
I guess the finish is a bit controversial. I mean, I don't know what you guys made of the finish. I was okay with it. It wasn't terrible, but again, my thought at the time was, oh, this might carry on, and now I'm thinking maybe it won't carry on. If it doesn't carry on, then it's a bit of a stupid finish. It's kind of what happens next, I think.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that Roman kind of lost control for the first time. Like he just,
I think
usually
that makes
he's
sense,
so
big
like
time.
controlled and he just lost it. The only thing I don't get is Charles Robinson picking his hand up and put it on a rope for him, basically.
That was hilarious.
The referee basically helped Seth.
Yeah, well, this is what I was watching it back earlier, and I thought if he hadn't picked his hand up, it would have just been a Rollins win, because Seth would have been out. So literally the only reason Seth got the win there is because he dropped his hand onto the rope.
The only thing I thought it was a bit odd, but that ref has been in people's pocket before. I can't remember who it was, whether it was Heyman or if it was like Ric Flair or something. He's known for sort of taking backhanders, and I thought, I wonder if there's something else to this here.
I think it's involved with Sonya, wasn't he? He helped Sonya out in a match.
Yeah, he's done a few things over the years, but in terms of the finish, I'm normally not a big DQ fan. I love a finisher and that's it done. But as you say, Roman lost it here. And he looks absolutely mental doing this. He looked like he had lost the plot. And obviously we had the follow-up of just him kicking the hell out of him with the chair. So in terms of that finish, I don't mind. The thing, as we'll go on to later, is unfortunately this didn't sort of pan out as I wanted it to. It changed by sort of other results over the evening. But in terms of the actual DQ finish, I didn't mind it. I quite liked it, to be honest.
I would have preferred a straight down the line DQ finish to that, because like I said, I just thought it was a weird way to do it. If they're going to have Roman choke Seth out, that's fine. I'd take that finish, because he's used that finisher on quite a few people at this point. He used it on Drew McIntyre, for instance. Yeah, just to have him finished like that, I thought that was my only gripe in an otherwise brilliant storytelling arc of that whole match. And he proper went ham with that chair afterwards as well.
Yeah, it was like Ben.
He didn't go live.
Yeah, he literally broke it.
I agree with you on the finish. I wasn't overly keen on it, just because I'm not a fan of doing DQs on a pay-per-view. I mean, I don't, we get enough of them on Raw and SmackDown. So to do it at the opening match as well of a big pay-per-view like the Rumble, I wasn't overly keen on, and the way it just looks stupid with the ref putting his hand on the rope.
Yeah, that was odd.
The only thing that made up for it, I mean, I said to you guys earlier, was the after-match angle was so good that I almost forgot about the DQ finish, because the hit with the chair, like Tizzle said, where he falls in the same position, that sort of 7-year story arc coming through was brilliant. And he didn't hold back, which I like it when they don't hold back, because obviously Seth and Roman trust each other, so they knew they could probably, in terms of the real people, so they knew he could whack him as hard as he could, and it's going to be fine. So
yeah, I think really as well, just on that kind of how hard he was hitting with the chair, I think Seth having the shield protective gear is why he could go. Maybe that was planned, so he could go a bit harder. Whereas if that's on his bare back and he's hitting him that hard, that is
Roman's very talented though. He was hitting the edge of the ring as well. Is that people like Edge and Orton? They're so good at doing it as well. And it's that close that you're like, geez, but actually they're hitting the ring. That's why you get that proper bend. But yeah, I think absolutely phenomenal from both of them.
Yeah, the match itself was incredible.
I think top mark. It's all around. If we were to give it one, this was just so good. And to be honest, if we'd have had a straight win, this could definitely be a match of the year contender. I think unfortunately it was a little bit spoiled by that, but
I can't give a DQ finish a match of the year contender. So
yeah,
such a shame.
But this is what I mean. I would have happily taken the Roman win. I mean, I'll take the Seth win for the predictions league. I'm having that point all day long.
It's a cheeky point.
Yeah, it is a cheeky point.
I got royally screwed in this pay-per-view, actually.
Yeah, Fisher got wrecked.
I got screwed by this result particularly, but yeah.
But yeah, if it had just been a straight win, I think it would be one of the matches of the year when we look back. Well, you know, there's always a bit of recency bias by the end of the year, but it would have been one of the ones in the conversation. But because of that weird finish, I think I think it takes it out of the running a little bit. But
a fantastic match to open with, though. What an absolutely fantastic match to open with. Straight in, bang. And the pace didn't slow up at all. So next we had the Women's Royal Rumble, and I know we all loved it, but I think Fisher, you had some real sort of strong thoughts on it.
Yeah, this was actually my overall in the end my favourite match of the night, because I didn't like the Men's Rumble, but I did like the Women's Rumble, and yeah, I thought there were some really good spots in this, and there were a couple of wasted appearances, but they overall, I think people were used quite well and booked quite well in this Rumble. It started
we all got really excited with that number one.
Yeah, this one was one of the ones that baffled me a little bit. This one
coming
baffled
out
me
first. Yeah,
so I mean,
she looked really cool, didn't she? Her outfit was amazing. I thought, proper looked the part.
Sailor Moon.
Is it Sailor Moon? Yeah. I knew it was an anime. I wasn't too sure exactly.
Well, I didn't know if there was something because I know Zelina Vega's a cosplayer, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she had some Naruto cosplay on, and she eliminated Sasha, who was cosplaying.
Yeah, that was huge.
So I didn't know if there was something in that, just with the little outfits thing. But
the only thing we sort of thought maybe coming from that is that Sasha maybe pushed towards the tag belts.
Possibly
sort
if
of go up against Zelina. It's just so random. I know I loved it because what I do like it is a surprise, and I did not expect Zelina Vega to eliminate Sasha.
Well, yeah,
Fisher's face was amazing.
I mean, I speak for myself. I barely spoke for about a couple of minutes after. I just don't know what. I was so shocked that Sasha went out so early. I couldn't believe it, and not like a significant elimination. It wasn't like Charlotte came in at number 6 and threw. Do you know she was the third woman eliminated?
Yeah,
third person out. Sasha Banks,
and she lasted 9 minutes 44.
I can only assume that she's not quite fit to wrestle for a long period of time. I just want to mention before we move on that Melina was in second, and I think her elimination was botched. She went over, and I think she slipped on the apron and fell down. I don't know. I think Sasha's going to eliminate her, no problem. But I think it was maybe a bit earlier than expected.
Yeah, they're both confused.
But yeah, Melina seemed to slip on the apron and fall, which isn't the worst botch elimination of the night.
No, there is another slip.
We'll get into that.
So one thing that I would say about the Women's Rumble is I've preferred the Women's Rumbles to the men's for the last couple of years. Because I think they put more into it, and obviously it's ridiculous that it took till a couple of years ago to get a Women's Rumble in general. Maybe it's a roster thing.
Well, we saw this evening, didn't we? Sorry to interrupt, Tizzle, but the roster thing, half of it was not part of the roster. You had all sorts of people coming out.
Yeah, but one thing that I do really like is how much you can see the current stars giving respect to the divas and legends and the Hall of Famers that come in, because obviously they really paved the way for this. And now it's their chance to be in it, kind of thing. So they really give them some respect from that. And genuinely, throughout all the match, all of them are just smiling the whole time. And I just think that's really nice and I think it's raised the standard of the men's one, because I found a couple of years ago there was quite this thing where they wouldn't really be doing anything in the corner. They'd just be looking right over their shoulder waiting for a spot. But because I think the Women's Rumbles come up and they really want to make a show of it because they get to do it now, I think it's raised the standard of the Men's Rumble. And so I just think that's brilliant in in how that all is, and obviously that the old legends and divas of the past get to come in and do their thing on a big stage as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think obviously there's a lot of legends brought back, and I know a lot of them were kind of arranged beforehand. I have no problem with a lot of them. There's just some kind of wasted spots. Like one that springs to mind is Kelly. I don't think she had a spot in the match. I just don't know what her being there, and she's been in them before. I don't really know what her being there. When you consider like Xia Li wasn't in the Rumble, when you consider no NXT stars were brought up to be in this match, and you've got Kelly taking a spot and not doing anything. Like I think Michelle McCool had a good run. I think obviously Mickie was good. Lita, good. They all had important parts. Even the Bellas, I've no problem with. Cameron, all of those I think are cool spots. But Kelly's one I looked at kind of in hindsight, and I just thought, well, why was she in there? And I don't really get what her role in the match.
I think she comes out most years for some reason. It's probably just sort of a legacy thing now.
Yeah.
Might have sorted it a while back, and they've just decided to carry on with it.
Yeah, like I liked the Ivory Spots. It's like a right to censor callback. I like.
Yeah, that was quite fun actually.
Molly Holly with Nikki ASH. That was quite a cool moment.
I really liked the Cameron part actually, because that was so unexpected. We were all very surprised by that, and it does. I know we've not been too keen on this Sonya story, but actually, I think in the Rumble it worked really well. I actually really like the way that Cameron got thrown out almost instantly by Sonya, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had the spot with Naomi where
I was going to say, didn't one of you call that on one of your
Krusty did?
Yeah, I thought so. 100%.
I didn't call Cameron coming back though. That didn't. But that would have been a really good threat. But yeah, I did think that was going to happen. So no, I enjoyed, as you say, all these different people coming back. I think the Bella twins had a very good spot. And
they usually do. I think they're usually treated quite well by WWE when they come back. They're never really given a dud spot. I mean, I think we have to kind of give a mention. I know Fisher, you will like to speak on this, but Mickie James having coming out with her Impact music and the Impact belt, and being acknowledged, and that's a big moment, isn't it? I think that's a huge moment.
She got a decent showing. I was worried that they might not give her a good showing, but
I think she eliminated a couple, didn't she?
She got one elimination.
Yeah, she got one elimination.
She eliminated Michelle McCool, and she lasted nearly 12 minutes. So
she got eliminated by Lita, didn't she?
Yeah,
that's not bad.
It's not a bad run.
That's fine. Lita's a legend.
You got any more thoughts on that, Fisher?
Just on Mickie, or
just on the Mickey spot. Yeah,
we are giving you the floor to talk about Mickie James.
Talk about Mickie.
It was so cool. I thought it was really cool that she got the. I wasn't sure what music she would come out to, and I wasn't sure how far they'd go into acknowledging the Impact stuff. I knew they'd mentioned she was Impact champion, but I thought it was really cool the way they presented it. She had a really good showdown in the match with various people. I like the callback to Lita's last match in WWE in her initial run was with Mickie, so they had the sort of thing of Mickie beating Lita in her last match, and then Lita eliminated Mickie here. So I thought that was, not everyone may not know that, but it was a cool little thing that they did, and there was some cool spots with her in the match. I was happy with her run. I didn't expect her to win the match or anything. I know one person I think did predict her to win in our prediction league, and it wasn't me. So it wasn't me on my burner account.
That is a surprise. That's something else that was a massive surprise, actually, and I'm not talking about the sort of main event, was Sarah Logan's return.
Yeah.
None of us expected that to happen.
That was really cool.
It was nice to see. Again, they called them the Riot Squad, even though they released the member of Riot Squad, which it was named after. But yeah, that was cool, and kind of a nice callback. And they seem to have both got eliminated by the Bella twins, didn't they? So, that seemed to be, and they were doing their L sign to them both as they. So I wonder if that's leading anywhere. I don't know if Sarah Logan's a one-off.
Out the tag division.
I don't think we'll be seeing Sarah Logan back in full time. Not on WWE, I don't think.
Yeah, but maybe for Mania. I mean, maybe just to have this tag team spot, because I mean. Her husband,
and it gives Liv something to do, doesn't it, as well? Because Liv Morgan's had this spot. She's going to get pushed aside for Mania, isn't she? So how can you get a match and bring some legends back? Bella's there's 2 nights, so you've got a lot of card to fill. Can also make these tag belts feel quite sort of desirable, which I'd quite enjoy at the moment. I mean, you've got a few. If you just look at the legends there, I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to bring back Cameron, but you never know. You could have something going on there, couldn't you? Maybe bring Mandy Rose back up from NXT and give it to Sonya Deville. There we go.
I did see that Ivory did a exclusive thing after the match, like ripping on Rhea Ripley. So I don't know if she'll be sticking around for a bit. She was calling them like all like wayward girls and stuff, and saying that they need to be shown how to be proper women and stuff like that. So
that would be a weird.
I can't imagine. She'd have to be somebody's manager, wouldn't she?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Because the way she got put out, it was quite fragile, wasn't it? She didn't get launched out the ring. So I can't imagine Rhea Ripley versus Ivory.
Yeah.
Watching her get absolutely destroyed.
I would watch that at Mania.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley would destroy her.
A couple of little things. There was a couple of nice little moments, like the Liv and Sarah Logan one that you said. There was a nice little Shayna and Ronda moment as well.
That was a cool moment,
yeah.
One Lita's little run that she had before she got eliminated, where she pulled out all the old classics, the Moonsault and the Hurricane Runner and that stuff. That was great to watch.
And then she obviously got eliminated by Charlotte, didn't she? Which I think is setting up something going on there, potentially for the Elimination Chamber in Jeddah.
Yeah, in Jeddah, I think that could be
one little thing I did notice in the match that didn't really get talked about was Natalya got eliminated, came back in, then got eliminated again. So is that going to be another world record? Getting eliminated from the same
elimination.
I really hope not.
I think it's really before though. I think
the thing that was odd though, you had Aaliyah and Natty feuding recently, but they didn't look at each other basically the whole match. It was really odd. They just had their own little bouts while they were both in the ring.
Natalya had the third longest run in the match, I believe.
Oh, really?
Over half an hour.
I did find that there was a few.
She was the ringmaster for sure, wasn't she?
Yeah, and Bianca Belair had the longest. For 47 minutes, Bianca was the longest. Wow. And Liv was second.
There was a few feuds tonight over the whole show that just didn't seem to continue or make sense. Some of the eliminations and things like that. One of those that we just mentioned, Natty and Aaliyah, just there was no interaction, which is really odd since they've been feuding the whole time. The Sonya thing was good, but there was lots over the whole evening in both Rumbles, which didn't make much sense, where they really could have elaborated. And I guess that sort of, this is about to show where the focus went, and Tizzle mentioned it a few minutes ago, was mine and Fisher's prediction of Ronda Rousey coming back, which is absolutely awesome. But the focus
that point as well.
Good man, Tizzle, good man. Yeah, so the I think this is where their focus has been. Ronda Rousey's coming back. We'll do a few bits, but most of the focus is there. But bang, what a comeback.
It was great, wasn't it, to see her come out. The thing is, I just want to make it clear that I did my predictions on Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and it was kind of before the Ronda rumors got strong.
I did mine 2 hours later, just saying.
Yeah, and in those 2 hours, the rumors were flying out there. But I mean, as soon as I started hearing rumors, I was like, well, of course she's coming.
After those two, that next day when I did mine, Ronda would text me saying she was entering. And I was like, all right, then I'll predict that.
And the thing is, when Ronda's coming out, she almost can't not win because of who she is. She's just too big to not win. And I think I was very happy with her winning. I was quite happy.
But then when you look at the end of the night,
but we'll find out later on.
In hindsight, maybe.
Well, yeah. I'll probably talk about my thoughts on that whole thing after we've done the men's bit. My only issue was with the women's Rumble was that Charlotte got far too much of a showing. She didn't need it. I don't get why they're pushing her to be in the last two of a Rumble when she holds a belt.
She eliminated Rhea, she eliminated Belair and Baszler. She really wrecked the field and Lita.
I was going to say, there was a point when Bianca nearly eliminated her. She was on the apron, and I would have thought that it would have made more sense for Charlotte to go out there and Bianca to be in the last two.
I don't think Bianca got enough of a show in this. I'll be honest. She was quite
quiet. Yeah, there was a point where I kind of noticed she was still in. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen her for a while. She's kind of been quiet for a lot of the match, Bianca, I thought, in this one. Considering, in previous Rumble, I know she won last year's, but she's kind of had a big, even when she was in NXT, she came up and had a big show in the Rumble, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I was surprised she had such a little show.
She was in there for ages, but she didn't do much.
Yeah, just didn't have any moments. There's moments for everyone.
Yeah. Lifting
I think
people above her heads, things like that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of there was Alexa, Bailey, Asuka, Lacey Evans, all these people we thought may return. None of them did. Maybe because Ronda was returning, and anyone else returning would have been probably a second story. So I guess that's maybe why they didn't bring them back here.
But then I would have preferred one of them to come back, because realistically, Ronda doesn't need to win the Rumble to be in the main event of WrestleMania. She doesn't need it. So it would have made more sense for me for them to give it to someone who, like a Liv Morgan or Bianca again, potentially, or someone that could do with it more than she could, and Ronda could have, or Bailey or Asuka, like you said, and Ronda could have come and had a stare down with them in the ring, because she's going to be at Mania anyway.
Yeah, well, actually, when the match was on second, I kind of mentioned, I thought, well, I don't think Ronda's coming back, because why would you bring her back in the second match of the night? And I thought, well, maybe they're bringing Ronda back after the Becky Doudrop match, and they're going to introduce her that way. Yeah,
because she said Tiddles just said, she doesn't need to win the Rumble to come back. I think they're picking the wrong match as well. I would have thought Ronda and Becky 1-on-1 made more sense, because Becky beat Ronda in the triple threat, rolled her up, and then Ronda disappeared. Ronda could come back for revenge on Becky to win her title back. And I think that's a more appealing match, personally, for me as well, between Becky and Ronda. But it looks like they're going with Ronda and Charlotte, which is fine.
I think the only problem you might have, I think Charlotte may be picking her opponents here. I might be wrong, but I think she's probably very reluctant to lose to certain people. I think she'll be like, well, if I'm going to lose to someone, I want to lose to Ronda Rousey.
I mean, Ronda did text you earlier, so did she tell you?
So maybe she'll know, yeah.
To be fair, I think Ronda is going to pick Becky. I think it's going to go like that. And then I think Lita's going to stick around till Mania. I think that's going to be the feud in and out.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think we're going to get Belair in an elimination chamber.
I think we're getting Belair, Becky still.
I think it's going to be a big elimination chamber. We're going to get Belair, then go for Becky. I think we're going to get Lita Charlotte in Jeddah. That's what I think is going to happen. Because they're going to want these Saudi Arabia shows make more money than WrestleMania by a mile, so they're going to throw everything into it.
Or they might even do it on SmackDown. It wouldn't surprise me.
I hope not. I think Lita's deserves more than that.
Same, but
to be honest,
depends.
And then again, you can't really have Charlotte lose to Lita though, if she's going to then go on to face Ronda.
No, Charlotte's not losing to Lita.
No. Sure. You can give her a good match, I guess.
I think they'll have an event go at a pay-per-view, whether it ends up at Mania. I think Charlotte's losing it to Lita at some point, or I think it's going to end up on Lita at some point, whether it's off Charlotte or not.
But overall, pretty phenomenal Rumble.
I thought the Rumble was really good. It still had like enough room for surprise and intrigue in it, whereas the men's one didn't. It was like 25 people in, and I was like, where are the surprises? And it had announced comebacks as well, like Mickie and the Bella Twins and all these people. So it had a bit of everything in it. And I think, obviously, it had a major star return and win, which was fine. I think it was pretty well booked overall. There were a few little things, but like the Melina slip at the start, I don't know if it was meant or not, but even if it was,
it's such a minor thing.
They played it out okay.
I think she was going out soon anyway. So, like, honestly, I think she might have just meant to land and then Sasha run in and knock her off the apron. I think it was that like minute, but I just think she slipped.
The fact that they both did the splits, I wonder if Melina was meant to land on it and then get arrogant and do the splits, and then Sasha was going to get her out by doing it back and slapping her or something. Because they sort of did it anyway.
What made me think it was odd though is the fact that they were 1 and 2. Normally 1 and 2 have a bit of a match and go a little way for the Rumble, and she just went straight out, and Sasha was waiting in the ring for number 3 to come in, who ended up being Tamina, and I was like,
nobody meaner.
That's a really it's such an underwhelming start. Like
Tamina is the weirdest Rumble entrant. Every year she has this weird stare down with people, and it never amounts to anything.
No, I was saying that actually.
I think she's another Natalia. I think she's in there to sort of support, keep things moving. Because she does a lot backstage, doesn't she?
It is weird. At Rumble, they seem to make her out to be like this big, like, let's have a stare down with Rhea Ripley, the two giants colliding, and then for the rest of the year they treat her like dirt, and then Rumble comes around. Let's have a stare down with a big wrestler.
It used to be Nia, didn't it? It's always
Tamina Nia stare down. Yeah,
I love the way that our talk about the women's Rumble. It didn't end with Ronda. It's just ended with Tamina.
Yeah, I know. Ronda was like a little part in the middle of all that.
There's your moment, Tamina. There's your moment.
Well done, Tamina.
I just want to mention a couple of people that I thought we could have seen a bit more of. Shotzi, I think, is definitely one.
Oh yeah.
She came in number 29 and still had that's a good spot to come in and did nothing.
No.
A couple of legends, like you said, Kelly, Summer Rae, I think didn't do anything either.
That doesn't bother me though. I didn't really need to see much.
She was in for less than a minute.
We had a Summer Rae Natalia moment though.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Kelly moment. I don't think there was one.
And
unless I'm forgetting. But.
And even some of the like just the normal roster members, like Carmella was in less than a minute and stuff. And obviously the big one was Sasha Banks. I couldn't believe how early she got eliminated.
We think there might be something to
that, though. Yeah, one thing about Carmella is that will always make me laugh is Corey Graves just like rapping her so hard.
I did like she was just chilling by the announce desk. That was quite cool.
It kills me. It makes me laugh so much.
I laughed when he said she was the odds-on favourite.
Somebody went to get her. I can't remember
Rhea.
who it was.
It was
Was it Rhea? Yeah, she was like, hell no. Like, that was cool. That was actually really good. Yeah, good spot to pick. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part. So does anyone have anything else to say on the Women's Rumble?
Not really.
Not really good. So then we went on to the yeah, me too. Yeah, I think
I preferred it. I definitely preferred it to the men's.
Yeah.
Then we went on to Doudrop Becky, which unfortunately after such a bang was always going to be a slight come down. The crowd, you could tell, had all gone quiet.
This was some come down. The crowd, I know stuff went on in the crowd, and we'll get to that in a second, but even before that all gets off at the start of the match, it was just silence. It was such a weird atmosphere for this
outside
match.
for the toilets and things like that. It's so hard to follow something like Ronda, though. I mean, it's just difficult.
I did quite a few notes for this show, and literally the only note I've got for this match was unremarkable, okay storytelling, but nothing special, and the manhandle slam off the second rope was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match.
Cool,
that's legit.
Yeah, the manhandle slam was spot on.
I
thought the match was good, but compared to the rest of the card,
it could have been on Raw. Like it was a match, a good match, but nothing like it wasn't amazing.
I think
Becky.
I mean Becky
got destroyed about twice.
Took some. I mean, her ribs, if they're not cracked tonight, then I'm amazed because she took some heavy bumps in that match.
She carried on though, didn't she? She didn't look affected at all.
Yeah.
She took another in the turnbuckle, didn't she? Where her head just like
her head bounced off the turnbuckle. That looked bad.
But that shows, I think, sometimes towards the start, people were doubting Becky and how strong she was. I think this completely eliminates all that. She's a worker, isn't she? And it shows that everything she does on screen is pure acting. It's all for show. But actually behind the scenes, whereas from like Charlotte and that, you can sort of see through it sometimes, can't you? If that was done to Charlotte, she'd have put the brakes on and just been an absolute arse in the ring. Whereas Becky carried on selling everything. So I know she's at the top of her game, but full props to Becky Lynch.
I just wanted to say I feel a bit sorry for Doudrop. This is kind of her moment, her big match at a big pay-per-view. She's missing out on being in the Rumble, which could have been quite cool for her. And she's got this match, and it's just it's not gone to plan. There's WrestleMania signs gone a light during the match, and people are literally evacuating certain areas of the stadium. The crowd are are more
we were
interested in
wondering
that.
what was going on, didn't we? They're all taking photos.
That happened is unlucky. She's kind of slightly botched a few spots, and there's no reaction to this whole match. So this will be forgotten about very quickly for Doudrop. And this was kind of her moment. So it almost couldn't have gone worse for her, I think.
I was going to say, I think I would have preferred to see another Liv Morgan and Becky match and had Doudrop in the Rumble, like you said, because she could have been the sort of ring clearer, like the one that got when there's
loads
the big
of eliminations.
mass of them, got 10 eliminations or something, and then she could have pushed on from there. But like
probably
you said,
would have been better off having Charlotte defend her title and sticking Becky in the Rumble. I think you could have had quite a cool spot with Becky. Sasha.
To be honest, I never liked champions being in the Rumble anyway.
No.
I'm
just thinking of a way for her not to defend.
I know it worked brilliantly with Brock a couple of years ago, but normally I'm not a fan of it. And like Tizzle said about Charlotte, going back to that match earlier, like the problem is you have to put the champion quite strong in the Rumble, so it's kind of they get in the way a lot of the time of the people you're trying to push. It's quite annoying.
Yeah. Although I think it's quite good when the challenger gets a sneaky one up on them and throws them out of the ring. Because it's not like, oh my God, they're so crap. Whereas if they get a one up on them in a match, it's a bit different. And it means a lot more. But
yeah, we'll say about Becky and Doudrop, the finish was really, really cool.
That was cool.
The manhandle slam off the top rope. And I actually, just before we went on here, I was watching an interview after the match with Becky, talking about the match, and she was saying that, like, Doudrop was a completely different opponent, really tested her, and she was also talking about Ronda's return, which was interesting. So
was that in character?
Kind of, but you could tell it was unscripted, so it kind of felt natural, but it was still in character. She was still saying, like, I'm big time Bex and stuff. She wasn't being like, but it was not scripted. You could tell it was like an unscripted promo.
I mean, you say character. I fully expect Becky and Seth exactly the same at home. I imagine they're all wearing outlandish outfits and being really obnoxious to each other.
That's a bit mad.
Seth just walks in with like dinner he's just cooked, like lobs it on the floor.
But yeah, good match. But
I guess
I felt sorry for the placement on the card here. Whatever went in this position,
it's the cool match, isn't it?
You say whatever. If you put Brock next, then the crowd aren't silent.
I don't think you could have put that there, though. I think it would have been.
And even if you had Edge here, there's going to be a reaction to Edge. I just think this was the worst placement for this match.
I was going to, but I feel like they could have put in a tag match, or like one of the tag belts, or the IC belt, or the US belt. Maybe
they could have easily put Usos and Viking Raiders on this show.
What's the IC belt? Sorry, I haven't seen it on TV.
Oh, that's the one that was set on the shelf.
It's that
literally
one
no
that
idea what that is.
WrestleMania.
No idea what that is.
But I think we then came back with a big bang, didn't we? So we had our boys Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley.
Our boys,
they are. Big men clashing in the ring. That's what we want to see. And how exciting was this match? I think just the start, Lashley hitting that German suplex straight away, and Brock just being like, geez, fair play. That was such a cool spot.
Yeah, some of these suplexes in this match were brutal, like proper back of the neck.
For Heyman's announcement before all of it for Brock's
it
just gets louder every week at the minute. It's brilliant. I love it so much.
I know
that arena shook, didn't it?
At this point of the night, the crowd are right behind Brock, aren't they? They are loving everything he's doing.
I think that's why, getting to the main event, I think that's why Vince felt comfortable to do it, because he was like, everyone's loving Brock right now. We'll do it. And I think it's backfired. But...
What a fool. What a fool.
One thing I would say about Brock at the minute, he genuinely looks like he's enjoying himself.
Oh, definitely,
yes.
Oh, he's like, he is.
I was going to say, these two together, it was the same as Roman and Seth. They look like they're enjoying their wrestling. And the way that both of them, like Brock nearly landed on his head from that German suplex. And both of them were just flying around the ring, which sometimes, I sort of referenced, I've referenced before, Orton versus Brock a few years back. and neither of them was selling moves, and it looked like they were just lifting a ton weight, and it looked like shit. The match was horrible. Orton had his head bust open, I think, because Brock got pissed off with him. But these guys were just going, flying around the ring. I don't think they could have done any better in this match. I thought
there was a missed barricade spear spot, wasn't there?
The old classic barricade spot.
Yeah, you get a barricade every week. They need to reinforce that barricade.
They left a lot on the table here for another match as well. They didn't go all out here, because it was quite short, and then obviously you got the finish and the ref bump and all that kind of controversy. That was the story stuff.
That ref took a couple of hits, didn't he?
Yeah, this poor ref. He got sandwiched in the corner, then he gets an F5 to the face. Poor guy. You thought one would take him out.
The hurt locks, I thought it looked ridiculous. I liked it, but I thought it looked ridiculous when he was doing it on someone that was bigger than him. It just didn't look right.
Yeah, well, usually he throws him back and forth, doesn't he? But he didn't really do that here. He kind of just held him in the spot. Yeah.
I did wonder if he was going to have him. I was like, is he gonna go down here and really put over Lashley?
I thought that Brock was gonna throw him over his shoulder or something, just bring his arm down and throw him over the shoulder. But obviously, it led to
really protected, isn't it? That finish is really protected.
So obviously, that led to the storytelling arc, I suppose, of that match.
Yeah, I was going to say. So obviously, to do the finish, Keeney will be very happy here because he's been saying for weeks that
I called this almost spot for spot, by the way.
Yeah. He's been saying it for weeks.
Yeah, I said as soon as Heyman turned on day one, I thought, don't trust him. Go back, listen to day one recap pod. I'm saying it back then. You can't trust him. He is going to turn. And in the build-up, I said, Lashley's going to beat Lesnar and Heyman's going to cost Lashley. Okay, Roman came down.
I've got a comment on this when we get to the main event.
Oh, okay.
I think he's still not fully in one field.
No, I'm calling
he's on both. Yeah.
Paul Heyman is
he's got
Roman
that fence wedged up his arse, hasn't he? He is sat on it.
He's Roman through and through.
He is not going on.
He's got a Roman tattoo somewhere now, I'm sure. But
no, because Heyman's going to be the one that got Brock into the Rumble.
Yeah,
that's how 100%. It will play out. 100%.
Well, all right, we're skipping to that part then.
Yeah,
yes,
we'll come back to
There's
Rumble.
no other way unless Vinnie Max decided that he wants to back Brock all of a sudden.
Yeah, but let's calm down on later in the show. I thought as soon as the ref goes down, we're all expecting Roman, aren't we? There's no one else that's going to come out now. It's going to be Roman. And I thought Roman looked so cool. I don't know what it's like about his swagger here was just.
It's also I think the added thing. I think the added thing of he had the match with Seth and he had a bit of a black eye, he had been hit in the face.
Made him look cooler, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that kind of helped it as well because he had the match earlier.
I love he kind of takes out Brock and then he walks over to Heyman and just lifts his hand out to be like, "Come on," and Heyman just gives it to him. And I'm a little bit surprised a kind of belt bump was, to the head was enough to beat Brock. I thought Lashley might still do a.
I thought he was going to kick. I actually said when we watched it together, us three together, and I said, "Oh, he's kicking out here." I had a feeling because it took so long as well for the ref to come back. I was like, "Yeah, Brock's going to kick out," but he didn't.
And then just watching. Roman without Heyman is great. Roman with Heyman is the best thing in wrestling. Full stop. Yeah. And just again, I know it's small things, but just to walk up the ramp with Heyman, the way Heyman looks at Roman's got this swagger. I don't know how else to describe it, just swagger. Pure, he's dripping with swag, Roman.
You were dripping by the sounds of it.
I was. I think I just love everything about Roman and Heyman, and I am Roman and Heyman till I die. Them two together forever.
He's in God mode now.
He is in God mode.
He is.
The only thing about this match, criticism really, is I did feel like Lashley, even though he won and he felt like an afterthought. It was all about Brock and Roman. The whole show was about Brock and Roman. When you get to the main event, the start and the middle, the whole show, really Lashley, even though he won, it didn't really feel like it was about him at all.
No, it wasn't, unfortunately. Lashley is secondary in this story.
One thing I did write when I was writing the notes for this is, has this corrected the Roman missing at day one course now? Is everything back on
Well,
track?
do you
To
reckon
how
we're back? Maybe, but I still don't think they know what they're doing with the WWE title for Mania yet. I think they're a bit confused. I think if day one had happened as we expected, I think maybe they'd have had some sort of Big E, Seth, Lashley hybrid setup. But at the moment, they're kind of a step behind, I think, still there. But in terms of
reports I read today,
Brock and Roman are in place.
They don't know what the other title match is going to be yet, from what I've read today. Which is a bit worrying, and that's why they had Brock win, because they don't know who the other person is going to be that faces Lashley.
We keep jumping ahead, don't we? It's hard not to on this show.
Well, but that's what I mean. It's all about that. It's all related. Yeah. It's all about that story. Everything in this show was about that story.
It's all about you. Is what Vince sang to Brock this morning.
And every morning.
Anyway, I think it's right time to move on to. In my notes, I've just confused myself because I put Maurice versus Edge. What a match that had been. So we had Beth and Edge.
We had bits of it.
Maurice did attack Edge.
That was a really cool spot, actually.
Let's just go straight into that spot.
I was going to say, I'll just start off on this one. I thought this was going to be sort of like a nostalgia based, and it really shocked me because it was a really good match, and they genuinely look like good tag teams. Maurice is the best shithouse in wrestling, in my opinion. She does it so well. Other people, I think you've mentioned before, other people look like they sort of just jump into life when they know their spot's coming up. But she looks like she's constantly looking for a way in all the time. She's so good at it. And obviously, the more she was in the ring, the more she grew in confidence for the match. And the intergender interactions, like we were just saying about that spot, they were done really well, and they weren't like untasteful like sometimes we do get with. They were done fantastically.
Well, they were. I think we all expected Beth on Miz.
I didn't expect Maurice on Edge.
Did we expect Maurice to take out Edge and Beth Phoenix both in the space of like 5 seconds?
That was incredible. I was so
like, bloody hell, Maurice, what's happened there?
I was pleased as well because it opens the door for her to do more, doesn't it?
I thought that it looked. I thought Maurice was very, very good in this match, particularly. But I said, I was just proven so wrong because I thought it was just going to be like full on nostalgia and callbacks and just like a bit
just
of a
using a brick
match.
and running away. Well, she did start with the running away, didn't she? But then we had that Hurricanrana spot. It was just mad.
Crazy.
And it looked fluid, didn't it? It didn't look ropey. Like some of the spots in the Rumble, some of the Legend women, it wasn't that. It didn't look that good. Some of the, I think a couple of Hurricanranas were in there, and they didn't look that good. But this just looks so fluid. Obviously, Edge is going to have a big part to play in that, and Beth. But we were saying, how good does Beth look? I mean, she's like the same size as Edge. She's an absolute beast.
Bigger, probably.
She's
a
good.
Tank.
I know Fisher said you'd like her to have a run, didn't you?
Yeah, I would. And this match, I thought Edge and Miz would do most of the work, but it ended up being the women had a lot of the match. Like Tizzle said, Maurice did a lot more than I expected in this match. I really thought she was going to try and avoid stand on the outside. Edge and Miz would do the match, and then right at the end of the match, Edge would tag Beth, so Maurice would have to get in, and then she'd do a glam slam, and that'd be it or something. But it wasn't like that at all. Maurice did a lot more than.
No, she did, and I think kind of the one kind of botched spot in the match was a really poor spear from Beth on Maurice that looked terrible. Or was it even might be on Edge on the Miz? Sorry, I can't remember who it was on, but
Beth on Maurice. It was pretty
Beth
weak.
did a spear look terrible, and obviously we kind of lead to the finish, and there was an attempted double skull crushing finale, and then it turned into the double glam slam.
Double spear on Miz as well.
I was going to say
double spear on Miz. Yeah, sorry.
I thought they were all really cool. Those moves, the powerbomb, Beth powerbombing Miz into the frog splash as well. I just thought it was all brilliant.
Yeah,
like really well done. Really well done for something that I wasn't. It was probably the match I was least excited for because, like I said, I just thought it was going to be bit of a cool down match, but I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it.
Again, I think we've all been sort of unsure about it for a few weeks now, but actually it was definitely deserving of its spot on the card.
Yeah, and I think we know now it's done because Edge and Beth have won both times. Edge has won both times, two matches to 0. So I think that feud's done, which I think is a good thing. We got this, and now Edge can move on to something bigger for Mania. Miz can move on to something else, hopefully with Maurice, because I think Maurice had so much to the Miz. So hopefully we get some sort of feud.
Yeah, I think the Miz can get in any feud and he'll make it work when he's kind of good at that. But I guess at this point, I kind of want to see how you guys are feeling about the pay-per-view at this point. 4 matches in, we've had Ronda winning the Rumble. We've had Lashley, Lesnar, great. We had
I was almost on the cards for saying this is one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in a long time at this point. I was well into it. We were so excited for the men's rumble coming up, weren't we? We were
at this point, you're like, oh, what a show we've had. Men's rumble coming up. This is going to be the best time of my life.
One thing I did notice after this match, just talking about this point, there was a really weirdly placed Sasha Banks promo.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about this to the guys earlier. It's really weird, wasn't it?
It was just really odd. So weirdly in the rumble.
It was like 5 minutes long as well. It wasn't like a few clips. It was really long.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just had to throw something in. I don't know if they had something else planned and they had to just throw something in. But for the woman that just got eliminated like 3rd in the women's rumble, it seemed weird to have like a 5-minute long promo about her. I just thought that was.
It was as if you were sat in the room with us, Tizzle. Some of the stuff you're saying is exactly the same as the way we thought.
It was strange.
Yeah, it was very odd, that promo. I didn't understand what was going on there at all. I thought there was going to be a point to it at the end of it, and it wasn't. It just went off. I was like, okay, what was that? Yeah. Obviously, Sasha Banks is a big star, but she wasn't presented like a big star in the Rumble, so it was odd. And Keeney, going back to it, actually, Keeney asked to change his prediction when he saw Sasha on SmackDown and said she's definitely winning.
I genuinely was like, Sasha's going to win now she's back.
Lucky for you, we shut you down.
God, yeah.
And you still lost.
Like a rightful. I
think it was a case of for everyone. If Ronda's coming back, she's winning it. Like there was no 2 ways about that. But like I said, which is fine. It was nice to watch at the time. I just don't think she needs it. But that's by the by, really. It's
right. So shall we move on to the main event then?
Main event.
Yeah, men's rumble.
Main event.
Because this is going to take up quite a lot of time.
Okay. Before we get into any kind of other thoughts, I think it starts off all right because we kick off with AJ and Shinsuke first 2. You're thinking this is good, and then you get Austin Theory, and we're building up a decent. And I think the first kind of 10 entrants, all pretty decent wrestlers. I don't have them in front of me. I think
we were really excited at this point.
Dolph and Rude were in the first 10.
Knoxville, Sammy, Gable was he in the first 10 probably?
No,
Priest was he in the first 10?
Priest and they were all in early.
And it was quite a nice kind of good people coming out early.
And we were really hopeful at this point, weren't we?
Decent. We had your pick Fisher AJ. I had Austin Theory. That's my pick, and I was cheering that boy on. My God, if he'd have won it, I'd have been celebrating. I'd probably still be celebrating now. But
can we just mention the Jackass spot when that music dropped? I don't think you had a louder pop. Yeah, I think that rivaled Lesnar coming out. That was insane when they all come out, and I think they did this perfectly. I mean, we all thought, we said the past weeks that maybe Zayn would get eliminated by Knoxville or something like that, but he just got absolutely destroyed, didn't
they all turned on him. All the wrestlers turned on Johnny Knoxville.
Knoxville got destroyed.
That was so funny.
Again, it's a nice bit of comedy relief. Like I've put down, it was decent. Like it was fine. It's not hurting anyone. It was a nice little watch, and it didn't do any damage to anyone.
He didn't eliminate someone stupid. Like if he'd have thrown Damian Priest out or something, I'd have been like, okay, that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, before we get to the end of the Rumble and kind of the main thing, I think there was a few funny eliminations.
Oh, really?
Wasn't there? I mean, I know one that stands out is Madcap Moss eliminating AJ Styles. I mean, Madcap and Corbin had a really good run, didn't they?
Oh, they were great.
Really good run.
We were enjoying Corbin, weren't we?
Yeah, but Madcap to eliminate AJ Styles.
Yeah, that's a bit random.
And it's not, it's not going to lead to anything. That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned Corbin and Madcap,
I thought almost eliminating both the Street Profits was. I understand that they wanted to. Again, he was the ring clearer of that match, and they needed to get him some eliminations.
It was only two people.
Something that I liked even worse than that was him eliminating Priest. Not necessarily the fact that Omos eliminated Priest. It was the way he did it. He like hit him with like a massive clothesline or something, and then he almost just like pushed him over the ring. There wasn't any big fight or spot, and you could sort of tell, I think, by looking at Priest that he was just like, I'm not going to sell this very well because I'm not interested. Which, when you're bigging him up to be such a sort of aggressive, angry guy, you didn't even have a spot with him coming back in. That could have been quite cool if he lost his shit, ran back in the ring and just started attacking Omos or something like that.
I was worried because obviously I said I lost in Theory. Then when Austin Theory then started tackling him, I was like, Austin, stay away from him. And luckily he didn't get him out. And I thought, oh, maybe Austin's going to stay in for a while.
See, there was a little spot where AJ like rolled out under the bottom rope, got thrown out, and he disappeared off for a bit. And I thought it was going to be more of a spot, but he kind of just really nonchalantly came back in the ring at some point. I think it was just to eliminate Omos, but I thought they were going to do more than that. The only other thing that Omos did in that thing is he gave Ricochet a chop, and Ricochet sold it like he was dead.
Yeah. I thought he died when he fell.
I laughed at that. That did make me. That did make me chuckle. Boogs surprises me every time he gets in the ring. I keep thinking he's just a comedy, like he is a funny, like comedy relief wrestler at the minute, but he's genuinely really good, and that's
stacked,
I don't know why
he's absolutely stacked. Ripped. I'm quite enjoying the fact that I think they're going down the sort of like classic circus dumbbell lifting, like bodybuilder route, and he just literally stands in the ring posing, with his big moustache. I do quite like him now. Now he's got rid of the guitar, get him away from Shinsuke. So Shinsuke can actually wrestle and do his own thing. We know he had an injury now, which is a shame we didn't know that a while ago because we might have been a bit less critical on it.
Well, he just shouldn't have been champ.
I was going to say, they should have relinquished it. One thing I did notice was Boogs, Madcap, and Ridge Holland all finally got their own music. First time they've all had their own music for anything.
Yeah, well, this is actually something which I've actually seen online. I'm sure everyone else here probably has seen it as well. But the kind of there's a few times where music dropped and you didn't know who was coming out because there was so like even to the point of like Austin Theory. I was like, oh, is that Austin Theory? Like until I saw him, I didn't know the music was his. And it's kind of there's a lot of like, and even going back to the women's rumble, I think Carmella was one where we should know Carmella's music, but I just don't know it. And I was like,
changing songs recently.
Yeah, and they've changed Ricochet's.
And a lot of the music sounds the same. It's
and there's nothing like
Ricochet's is quite good. But
if you go back to old Rumbles, like the entrances are kind of like massive pops themselves because like even Carmella as an example, if you had the FABULO, like that hits and everyone's like, oh shit, it's Carmella. Whereas the music and everyone's like, what? Oh, it's Carmella. Yeah. Okay. Like there's that little confusion.
One thing I did think, I thought the entrances were quieter than they usually are. Because like you said, I was having to really listen. Like I was shocked about Kelly when she came out because usually you hear that holla holla before anything, and I didn't hear it, and I only saw it when she was coming. I'm not doing it again.
Don't do it again.
Don't do me like that.
Poor old Kelly's had so many shouts on this show.
Yeah. But one thing I have noticed they're doing with all the music is they're changing the music but keeping the same start bit. They've done it with Liv Morgan, Ricochet, Sami Zayn. They've kept the start bit so you know the pop, but the rest of the
they did it with Keith Lee ages ago. I remember them doing the because they used to do the
that ended well.
The Limitless thing at the start, and then they
Keith Lee was one day. Well, obviously they ruined him. I mean, well, we're talking about entrances, carrying cross, but let's not go down that path. I think though, there's just I wonder if it's like a music licensing thing, whether like licenses have ran out on some of their entrances and they've had to refresh them. I don't know. I'm just assuming, but
they own them all now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of new entrances in a short space of time, which have all gone just to. I think Liv's is better, but apart from that, even the Viking Raiders have had to change the music for no reason. It just seems like they're just changing everyone's music for almost no reason, really.
Well, since we're talking about memorable entrances, number 21, Drew McIntyre. You know that when that drops, everybody knows.
Yeah,
that.
this was really the first
surprise,
shock,
wasn't it?
Yeah. For someone we weren't expecting in the Rumble. I didn't think he'd be back yet. I thought when he was back, I thought he had a good chance of winning, just because of he's probably the best wrestler
I'd have quite liked
in the
him
match.
To be fair. I love the fact that he picked up from the storyline with Moss and Corbin. And it was actually really good that Corbin and Moss had such a good run up until now. Corbin looks fantastic. Great to see him in ring. They had like several eliminations, including AJ. Hit some big moves like the Deep Six. I love a bit of that. But then it then made McIntyre look really strong straight away when he eliminated both of them.
Yeah, that
and he went a bit mad on him, didn't he?
He went on the outside, beat them up as well. Yeah, that bit worked. I thought that was one of the ones where they actually played into the storyline previously, because obviously they wrote him off TV on SmackDown and he came back and eliminated him. Great, they paid off on it. But there was so much in my criticism in this match. Most of it is there was so many spots I thought that so many people in there that didn't need to be in the Rumbles. Too many tag teams, too many people like Finn Balor weren't in the match. Cesaro wasn't in the match. There was no real legend returns. No massive oh wow, that's cool. Like you got in the women's match with so many.
And absolutely no NXT call-ups as well.
No NXT and either Rumble.
Unfortunately, I think since Triple H has had to take a bit of a back seat and 2.0 coming in, I think this NXT call-up thing is gone.
Yeah, but I thought
those days are
very
over.
much developmental now, isn't it?
I thought we may get a Ciampa or someone that's been working on because they've been working main event tapings. So I thought Ciampa, Pete Dunne, LA Knight, Roderick Strong, they've all worked main roster shows recently. So I thought one of them maybe,
I completely agree with you, Fish. And even some of their big stars they wasted with a bit of a botch. You know which one I'm talking about, Fish?
Yeah, we know, don't we, Fish?
Mr. Kingston.
Oh yeah.
Going for his classic spot. And I just want to say, fair play, Kofi. I mean, you're going to get Ron wrong, aren't you? If you're doing that every year, they're so hard to get right.
To be honest, I blame the camera work. I'm showing the replay. I know we said they had to, but
yeah, but the one thing that I will play. Yeah, I saw it as well, and I'm glad that they just went and said, "No, you're out," rather than just ignoring it. Because we've had that in the past, and I fully expected them
to
make out as if he hadn't gone out, and oh my god, that was so close. But it's
a shame because I think it really affected what Big E did in the Rumble, because he looked lost after this. I think they were going to do some spots together, and Big E didn't really do much and didn't last that long. And I think it had a real effect because Kofi was obviously meant to stay in a little bit longer. And I think Kofi and Big E would have lasted, maybe not till the end, but a little bit longer. And I think it had a real effect. But like you say, Kofi's done so many of these spots over the years. This is the first time one's gone wrong.
Yeah,
it was crazy booking to have him do it straight away, though. Why would you come in and then pretend to get thrown out? And
it was instant.
Why wouldn't you let him be in a while, do his part with Big E, then do it? So that way it doesn't matter. It's a risk, isn't it? And the way he hit that barrier.
Yeah, he hit it.
And there was fans there.
I just don't think he got enough on his jump. That's all I can think. He just didn't quite get enough, because usually it's not even close to the floor because he's so gets such an elevation. Yeah. I just don't think he got enough on it. And again, I'm not going to criticize Kofi for that, because
no, not at all. It was almost like the fans weren't aware though.
Magician,
the fans were right there. Normally they have like security sort of giving him a bit of space.
He nearly headbutted a bloody.
If he'd have landed any higher, he would have been in the crowd. So I don't know what happened, whether it went a bit wrong, whether he's on the wrong edge of the ring or something like that. But really.
So going back to sort of wasted, sort of not building on storylines and some people that maybe didn't need to be in there at all. I think they didn't play into Ray and Dominic were kept separate. Dominic was out way before Ray came in. They played. On Raw, they were doing the story of one will eliminate the other. Orton and Riddle, nothing happened there. I thought maybe we're going to get finally the turn of one of them on the other. Nothing played up there.
Orton and Riddle look really good together. I thought actually that RKO that Riddle did, like the one where he stepped on the back and RKO Drew. I thought that was class.
I've been thinking that, Tizzle, ever since you said back when you did, end of year prediction, end of year review, and you said they're the best team this year, but they're not, like, when they were in that match with Usos and New Day, they don't quite work as a team as well. I think they've improved loads in the past month.
100%.
Their teamwork is insane, and I think I'm fully believed we were going to get Orton and Riddle at Mania. I'm now questioning that because I think they might just stick with them because they work so well together.
Yeah,
and,
maybe that's on me for expecting that. Maybe it's on me for
Yeah.
expecting that Orton's going to turn around. Maybe we're all just assuming that that's going to happen, but maybe they are going to stick them together. And I don't know what they're going to do at Mania if they do. But
they sell merch. They are so over. They're so good together. There's almost no better tag teams right now.
We had the same with the Mysterios, didn't we? Because they were playing into Dominic was getting pissed off, wasn't he, with Ray? And then suddenly it just disappeared. Yeah. I think this is exactly the same as that. Also, we've said it so many times, there aren't enough tag teams to start splitting people up. They need more, if anything. Yeah. But yeah, I completely agree. They've really got something. Orton is just mad as a face. He's so...
God, he was so over, wasn't he, when he came out? Jesus,
yeah.
I couldn't believe.
The crowd booed when he got eliminated by Brock as well, loud. You could hear it loud.
Yeah. That was the big one, wasn't it? That the crowd didn't like.
We're getting there, and we're all going to be loud, and we're going to be...
I mean, we're basically there, aren't we? What else happened in between?
There's quite a few still significant.
Well, Shane O'Mac came out.
Shane O'Mac, Bad Bunny.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, Bad Bunny. Jesus.
Bad Bunny was incredible.
Yeah,
I was so excited for Bad Bunny.
Just give props to that guy.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. He was the highlight of the match for me, honestly.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I'll take that.
We know how good he is in ring. His Canadian Destroyer was insane.
Yeah,
I know he's done it before, and I know I think Krusty's the moves guy, but I know a lot of Canadian Destroyer is on the person taking it. But my God, it made that.
I think that's why they chose Riddle because he is so strong. I was going to say
it. Yeah, he sold it like a dream as well, Riddle.
Yeah. Well, and also again, kind of moving on a bit, but he took a F5, which for a celebrity to be taking that from to be in the Rumble at that point with Brock is a big call. And I mean,
we were laughing, weren't we, at that? Just Bad Bunny getting F5'd.
Let's get Bad Bunny on the roster full time, man. I'm for
it. I said this when we were watching it. I said I'd take that.
Unfortunately, I think it'd be a massive pay cut for him.
Yeah,
he got 2 eliminations as well in this match. He eliminated Sheamus. Sheamus tried to do a bro kick and he got the better of him. And he also eliminated Dolph Ziggler along with Rey Mysterio. So yeah, and then him and Ray teamed up for a bit. Actually, that was kind of cool. They kind of did a little fist bump. So yeah, I thought Bad Bunny was awesome in this match. We mentioned Shane O'Mac, and I
actually got well excited for Shane O'Mac.
I don't know why. But what ruined it for me was we're talking about crazy eliminations.
Is it the final four?
Yeah, it was in the final four, which is ridiculous. But we talked about Madcap Moss eliminating AJ. I thought almost as bad as that, Shane O'Mac eliminated Kevin Owens.
But
randomly.
I think that's going to be a storyline up till Mania. I think that's what they're doing with Kev.
They've already done it. They've already done that though with Shane and.
I think this is my time.
Personally, I really don't want to see that again. I don't mind Shane having a match, but I do not want to see Shane be KO again.
I think we're going to get. I think I can honestly see us getting Shane O'Mac versus Austin Theory because of Vince at Mania, and I think that'd be a banging storyline.
I'd be happy with that as long as Austin Theory beats him. I don't mind Shane O'Mac being at Mania because he can have a good match.
Yeah.
And he will put his blood on the line. We know that.
He had a great match at Mania last year, didn't he, with Braun Strowman of all people?
Well, okay, but he had a good one with AJ. And
that was at Hell in a Cell, wasn't it?
Well, AJ.
No, Braun Strowman and Shane O'Mac.
It was at Mania, wasn't it?
I thought it was at Hell in a Cell.
I think it was just a cage match.
He had a good match with The Miz as well. I don't think it was quite Mania. He had a good one with The Miz.
That was Mania. Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, so I think Austin Theory and Shane O'Mac would be good as long as Theory won. And I mean, again, we're talking about missed spots. I mean, Austin Theory's had 2 months of build up with Vince, and he's spoken to him about the Rumble and asking for advice. It's been expect the unexpected, and we thought something's going to happen, and nothing. Austin Theory just went out as normal in the middle of the match.
I think Vince should have come out of him, patted him on the back, and or threatened him or something like that.
I think Vince should have put him in at number 1 and said, if you don't win, you're going to get comeuppance on Raw just to see what happens or something. There was nothing, was there?
Yeah, I mean,
even a video package.
Well, maybe we'll get some aftermath on Raw tonight where Vince will have a go at him. But yeah,
Austin Theory's drop kicks are amazing. By the way,
they're high, aren't they?
His rolling drop kicks are incredible. How he does that, I'll never know.
He is. I think he is such a good, talented wrestler. It's just a matter of time before he does make the top. But yeah, that was just a bit of an odd one. But towards the end of the match, we were left with Shane, Bad Bunny. This is the problem when Brock come out at 30. So you get Brock come out at 30, which we got to 29, and we were thinking, it's got to be something huge because everyone in the match had been announced.
Yeah, I just want to tell you,
there's no real surprises.
Those 10 seconds, that 10-second countdown was the most excited I've been in a long time in my life in general, not just wrestling, just in my life. It's the most exciting 10 seconds I've had because I was so hyped. I was like, I cannot wait for who this is going to be. It's going to be someone big. They've
Veer to come out.
I wanted Veer. I'm not gonna
well,
we got disappointed by Brock.
Yeah,
well, I've been happy with Veer, but Brock coming out on his own is not the problem. It's what it means is Brock's winning.
Yeah, and it
kind of means game over. Let's turn off the TV now. Brock's won this.
The problem was as well, as I said to you earlier, there was no intrigue because before Brock got to the ring, Big E was out, KO was out, AJ was out. But anyone that could win it.
I was going to say
Drew was the only one, wasn't he?
Drew was the only one in there you could believe was going to win the Royal Rumble, and maybe Randy Orton. Okay, you could put Randy Orton in that category, but Bad Bunny was never winning it. Shane McMahon was never winning it. I can't remember who else was in there. Riddle wasn't going to win it. So it was so obvious that Brock was just going to destroy everyone.
We all sunk, didn't we, when he come out? We knew. We were so
again. I don't know whether I heard it off of one of you. I don't know if we talked about it before, but I had a prediction that Brock or Roman was going to lose, and then they were going to come out and win the Rumble.
Yeah. Roman, I wouldn't have minded. I think. Yeah. It's because it's Brock that it's doing it a bit for me.
And it's always Brock as well, isn't it? We've seen him do it in Money in the Bank. We've seen him do it in Day One.
Yeah,
we've seen him do it
off of him
so many times.
I think it's not just us, is it? It's the crowd. The boo was insane. You don't have a Rumble winner.
And considering he had the pop earlier in the night, how much he got cheered, that shows how a booking decision can change that massively.
Yeah.
And he could get booed on Raw if they don't do this right. And in a way, I want him to, just to kind of punish him and say, look, stop doing this. It wouldn't have been so much of an issue if Ronda had not come out and won earlier in the night, which I really enjoyed. Don't get me wrong, I like that. But you've almost shat on your whole roster who works week in, week out and gone, if you're a big star and you come back for a few months of the year, we'll pay you load more money and we'll put you in the main events. Keep working hard every week for us.
Yeah, it's what I've written down, that it feels like they did most of the roster dirty because, like I said earlier, it's exactly the same with Brock. Brock and Ronda don't need to win the Rumble to be in the title picture or main event WrestleMania. They just don't need it.
And what annoyed me more was they'd already set up Brock and Roman earlier in the night.
Yeah.
With Ronda, at least she came back fresh. So put her winning the match, even though she didn't need to, she has been gone for a long time. So at least it kind of gave her a big win. With Brock,
but then, like you said earlier, I was only annoyed about them both doing it once I saw that Brock had done it as well.
Yeah,
when it was just Ronda, it was fine.
Exactly.
And if Big E or Kevin Owens or whoever had gone and won the men's one, it would have been fine. I would have been more than happy with that. But because they both did it, and they're, like you said, they're both part-time people, and it just
I think it annoyed me more purely because Brock didn't need a reason to go after Roman. He didn't need to enter the Rumble with my eyes because he literally got screwed out of the title earlier in the night by Roman Reigns. That's the reason to go after Roman. He doesn't even need to enter the Rumble, let alone win it.
I'd have preferred it if you had Brock go in and then Reigns comes out and stops him winning.
Well, we said that, didn't we?
That was the only thing that will save this, is if Roman comes out and stops him. Yeah.
Brock's music hit because he tries to get in the Rumble, gets number 30, and then Roman just destroys him on the ramp. And someone else then comes in.
Like Jey Uso goes in or something like that.
I was going to say, can you imagine if they did that, Brock went to come out into the Rumble, Roman destroyed him, and Seth came out instead.
Oh, yeah. I'd have loved to.
And then Seth won. Yeah.
That would have been crazy. But yeah, that's one of the things I've written. I think everything in this whole show, apart from the It versus Grit match, was, I think we've predicted it. Like, one of us has predicted it at some point. And that was...
it was weird because going into the show, everyone was like, oh, this is such an unpredictable Royal Rumble. It's great. And then it ended up being the most predictable show ever. Like, it was really weird.
We like our comforts sometimes. Sometimes they do really wacky things and we go, well, why have they done that? This was the obvious thing to do. So we can't have it both ways all the time. But it just seems to go...
It was too much, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just... They didn't do anything out of the ordinary at any point. I think they did all the predictable things here instead of having like one unpredictable. And one thing I have noticed of the Rumbles with both of them, they seem to do the same storyline in the Rumbles every year. So the men and the women's role, like last year it was Edge and Bianca, wasn't it? Who both came in really early and like did the Iron Man and went through the whole match. And then this year they've done the the coming in last and winning it with a big name. And that seems to be a running theme. I don't know why they don't mix it up a little bit more. It's one of the baffling things about WWE, isn't it?
It is. And like, for me, I think the end result put a real damper on the show as a whole. I think up until the men's Rumble, I was high on this show, really high.
I was high up until number 30.
Exactly. Me too. I was just going to say that. Yeah,
I was underwhelmed by all of them.
Yeah, I think the men's Rumble was
just because there was not enough in it for me.
But there was no stories.
I got to number 20 and I was like, this is like, there's no one exciting in it.
You were really down on it.
I was like, where's the like, there was no shocks at all. And Bad Bunny and Shane come out at the end, fair enough. But
there's a bit more understanding because I know their roster is quite stacked. So there's
I know WWE have released a load of people and there's not that many people out there, but surely Vince has got more people on speed dial than his own fucking son. Do you know what I mean? To come back.
Well,
he's always going to be Shane O'Mac, isn't it?
If he thinks Shane O'Mac is the best, it's the best thing
embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, I think Shane
the best wrestler in the world. I love you know.
He is
best in the world. Yeah. I honestly think the Elimination Chambers swung some of these decisions. I think that has caused some of these big names to come back quite early, to drum up excitement for that as well. It's just a shame that some of these sort of real week in, week out workhorses like Seth, who was supposed to apparently win at day one, is suffering because of this. Big E.
Big E's been really aside.
Big E's had his pants pulled down and been slapped on the arse. I don't know what he's done wrong, but he's been from champion at day one to
back in the New Day.
Yeah, back with Kofi Kingston, been thrown out as cannon fodder to Brock. It's ridiculous. I can't.
He never got his rematch either. He never got.
And he never will. He never will, Fish. That's the problem.
Well, this was my worry about it.
Not before Mania.
Yeah, I didn't want him to get just chucked back into the sort of mid-card obscurity that he was before, because I really like him as a champion.
Because that's where he's going.
I really like Big E. I liked him as a champion. I was really underwhelmed by his champion, like his reign as champion.
Do you know what? They were building a star. That's what they were doing with Big E. They were building a singles top star to compete with Lashley, with Roman. He's
shown him against Lashley, couldn't they? They could push him that way.
They could, but within the space of 4 weeks, they've put him from on the precipice of breaking into that top to just same Big E we saw a year ago. And you know,
such a shame.
But I think Lashley's the only one that's broken into that top tier and stayed there of recent.
I'd say Drew as well in the last 2 years.
Okay, no, sorry, Drew. Yeah, but like we're all thinking Riddle might be next, or Priest, or Austin Theory, or whoever we think might be next. But
Damian Priest needs a bigger belt.
He does.
Give Damian the Intercontinental.
I'm getting a little bit worried about what they're going to do with him.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Priest might not ever break. I said last year he was my breakout star of last year, and I thought he could be my star of this year if he carries on in his trajectory. But he's kind of stifled a bit, and now he's gone from being the guy who wins every week and is a legit champ to this character who has two personalities and gets DQ'd and is losing to Owens back. Oh, I mean, Owens is fine, but like, yeah, I just don't know. He's stopped. He seems to have he's been rising and stopped a bit, Priest. And I don't know if he's gonna, when they stop someone, they don't tend to then push them up again. They tend to stay there or get lower.
One thing that I did notice looking at the roster after this show, other than the Raw tag belts, what other belts changed in the last 4 months?
Yeah, nothing, has it?
Yeah, not even 24/7.
No. Priest had the long run as the US champion.
Usos, Nakamura. Yeah.
Shinsuke's best IC champ ever of Israel.
The WWE championships flipped around as well. That's the only one.
But not really to anyone fresh though, so it doesn't feel like it.
No, but
I think Big E was fresh.
Yeah,
well, Big E. That was a while ago.
Since then.
I just think all the belts need a change up, if I'm honest, because I think it's the title pictures are a little bit stale.
I think it doesn't help when the thing is, you've got the two people on top okay, you got Lashley now, but you got Brock and Roman for the men, and Becky and Charlotte. That's like 2015 is the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
6 years ago is the same thing.
You can even say the Usos as tag champs.
Yeah. Feuding with the New Day as well.
They were tag champs 6 years ago.
I was going to say, I get the whole bloodline thing, and one thing I did say right down about Roman at some point is his current character isn't going to suit chasing a belt. He needs to have the belt until he has a bit of a character change, and then they can go into a feud with the Usos or The Rock or wherever they're going to go with that and take him out of the title picture. But his current character isn't going to suit chasing a belt. If they give the belt to Brock off him or whatever they're going to do with it, they need to then move him away from the title picture and have a storyline with him for a while, because he can't chase a belt with this God mode head of the table.
That's a really good point. And I think I mean, I've said before how big I am on Roman. I right now, recording on the 30th of January, I don't want him to lose the belt to Brock at Mania.
No.
If he was facing somebody else.
I think he will. I think he will, by the way.
I wanted him to lose it last night to Seth.
I was going to say, I'd happily watch him lose it to Seth.
That would be fine. Yeah. He can lose it to Seth. He can lose it to Big E. He can lose it to Lashley. I have no problem. But not
Brock's going to have to do a big thing tomorrow night to win me over. He's gone
it's mad because
the pan again from me.
Honestly, just looking from third match on the show to the end of the show, Brock Lesnar's reactions, everyone's behind him. Like,
it shows that
we're all behind him, and then
screw everything up.
Yeah, that one, his music hitting at number 30 is when everything changes for Brock, and it's scary how much they can ruin something like that so easily.
I was gonna say the disparity of the first 10 minutes of the show with Seth coming in with the Shield music and that massive pop, and the last 10 minutes of the show where we're like, well, the Brock's going to be at Mania again. Like,
and we knew he was going to be in the match anyway. I mean,
I'm hoping we come in on Friday morning and we are like, you know what, we're wrong. This is fantastic. 100%. That's what I hope. We've done this before. We have done this before.
Like I said to you guys earlier, actually, just before, after we finished watching it, I did say, this is disappointing now, but we're going to get the Brock Roman Heyman feud was really good until it stopped. So at least I think we are going to, and Ronda's back on Raw on Monday. Like, we're going to get some good TV out of this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't
even
get me
if it's wrong.
Yeah,
and we've got Elimination Chamber. Things can change. They could manipulate this however they want now. They could change title hold. They could change who's got the title, which
I think one of you said it the other day. But if they get the current title pictures wrong, they've done something massively. Because it's harder to get it wrong than it is to get it right at the minute.
100%.
They're on their way.
And the problem we have is WWE haven't got it wrong from their point of view, because no matter what we say or what everyone on Twitter's saying now, when we sit here the week before Mania, we're doing our preview show. We're going to be frothing at the mouth at a Brock Roman match at Mania. We will, because it's going to be amazing.
It is the right match. No one was.
They did it the wrong way.
They just did it weirdly.
No one's going to care about Rumble when we come to Mania. When we've got a match lined up for the WWE title, it's going to be. I'm
going to write a note so I care about it.
But they've got so many feuds to do with Roman. Like he's the best thing in wrestling at the minute, and just because you can go so many ways with it, I think we're going to have obviously the Heyman stuff, like you said, is fantastic with Brock. That's really good, and that'll be a really good feud up until Mania. And then I personally want to see this a proper Roman Seth feud. I don't want this to be the end of it.
I hope it's not one and done after that finish.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be.
I want them to come back to that at some point, and then obviously we've got the inevitable bloodline feud that's going to happen at some point with the Usos, and then potentially The Rock at some point as well. So realistically, you've got probably the next 2 years of Roman storylines stitched up there quite comfortably. So if they get Roman storylines wrong at the minute, I think they're going to have really managed to sort of fill it out of the bag to get that wrong.
I don't think they will get it wrong because Roman's number one priority.
Yeah, well, we've seen that on the show. I was just going to say, I don't think they'll get the Roman storyline wrong. I just think they're going to put all their eggs. They put all their eggs in that basket, so everything else might go wrong.
Well, this is the problem with the men's Rumble is they were so focused on Roman and Brock that they just shat on everyone else in that Rumble. All 29 people in that Rumble meant nothing.
I disagree slightly. I think Corbin and Moss got a good showing, which then gave Drew a good showing.
Yeah, but does that mean we're going to see Drew at Mania?
30 men.
I wouldn't mind Drew versus Corbin having a bit of a feud. I think that could be quite good.
I was watching the Rumble, and like you said, it wasn't spectacular, but it was a nice showing. It's by no means the worst one I've ever watched. And the whole show, if that had just been part of sort of like a downer on a fantastic show, it would have been fine. But then, like you said, literally the best show I've watched in a good couple of years, probably, especially at a Rumble, up until the last 10 minutes. Which just
if you remove that number 30 and put someone else in, I don't know who, but let's say Seth walked in. It's a bit cliche from me, but even if he just got thrown straight out because he's so injured, but those last four that were in the ring, so you got Biggie, KO, Orton, etc. If they just had like an awesome showing in the last bit, McIntyre, I don't think we'd have been this critical on the rest of the Rumble.
I do agree. Yeah, I do agree.
Cesaro could have gone in at 30.
Yeah.
Or Finn Balor.
Demon Balor.
Demon Balor. Demon Balor challenges Lashley. Something new. Awesome. We haven't seen it before, and we would have been happy with it. But
Goldberg. Even Goldberg coming out.
No.
It would have been better than what happened, though. I don't mean he wins. Mia would have been amazing because he's coming and then he comes in at number 30.
They should have sent Hook.
Oh, imagine Hook's just going to drop.
Hook's just got to mention in the Royal Rumble podcast.
Of course, he has to. It's in our contracts. I think. I just want to say, I think I come out of this Rumble with a bit of taste from that last bit, and it makes me look at the rest of the show in hindsight. As I'm looking at it as. You've got two part-time Rumble winners. You had a nothing women's title match in the middle. And the two men's matches, one was a DQ finish, one was a ref bump and a dodgy title change.
You're ruining it now, Sean.
When you're looking at the show from this negative mindset from the ending, actually, I don't know what you want in the show.
From a viewing perspective, I thought it was a great show.
It was great.
Oh, no, I was popping all the way through when I was watching it.
Yeah.
Bit into hindsight,
we got to remember,
we were playing
Salty
a drinking game.
Salty Sean cannot wait to come out.
In hindsight, the show doesn't look that great.
I think he's got a point though, because honestly, if you look at it on paper.
We didn't get a clean finish either.
I was pissed at the end of the Roman. I loved the Roman Seth match, but I was annoyed at the end of it with the finish. Yeah. I was a bit like the Brock Lashley match was predictable. And
I think it was that good. I loved it.
It wasn't till the second time round when I got a little bit irritated with the Seth Roman finish.
Is that just because you knew about Brock?
Maybe. Again, it might be a hindsight thing, but the first time round, I was like, oh my God, he's won, and now he's getting a chair and he's going to do the Shield thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I was just so excited to... Yeah, so I was so excited to see all of it, and like I said, I popped for Ronda when she came out.
Oh, I did, yeah.
The women's rumble massively, and
I really like the women's rumble.
That's my pick. I said all the way through that if Ronda comes in, she's winning it. I expected it to happen, but like you said, it's just the bitter taste that has left afterwards.
Yeah, and do you know what? I was just looking as well. The men's rumble. I said this when we were watching it, so I'm just saying it now. But I said to you guys when I was watching it, like, why were the big names, where are the surprises? If you look at the middle names of this rumble, right, these people come out in a row. Now, no disrespect to these guys, that some of them deserve to be in a rumble match or whatever, but this in a row, when you're watching a rumble, is not exciting. So from 12 through to 19, you got Ricochet, Chad Gable, Dominic Mysterio, Happy Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus, Rick Boogs, Madcap Moss in a row. No surprises, no massive names. It's just kind of that was the bit where I was a bit like,
it's just.
Can we get to
the mid cards flying out?
Because it started off quite strong with AJ, Priest, Theory.
I think that's a bit of a disservice to them, to be fair, because I think we moan about all the cuts they've made, but every single one of them is fantastic wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
brilliant.
I got excited for Chad Gable to come out. I think he's been doing so good
love
work.
Rick. Yeah,
I think Fisher's point is none of them are winning, and none of them are doing anything particularly exciting. They're just, they're just fillers, aren't they?
For me, a rumble.
Unfortunately, they're just fillers.
You want a few fillers. You want 5 or 6. You're going to have 5 or 6 workers. Like Ziggler's a perfect filler guy for rumble. He's a ring general.
Yeah.
He can do Chad Gable, fine, right? But you want a few of them. But you also need returning legends, NXT call.
Imagine if you throw a
just didn't get anything. It's nothing against the wrestlers.
Throw a Ciampa.
No, I get what you mean.
If you just didn't like, Chad Gable's a tag team champion, so he doesn't need to be in the Royal Rumble, because a tag team champion is not going to win the Rumble and go on to WrestleMania.
I was going to say Randy would have made more sense at 15 or 16. Yeah, that would have been a nice.
They did save the biggies till last for some reason.
Yeah. The last and the start were huge, all of them.
It was at the beginning and the end, and the middle just really fell flat.
Space them out a little bit, shouldn't it?
It really fell flat for me.
It did feel like they picked. It's supposed to feel like they get picked out. It really felt like they went, right, you're going to come in here.
I did see a lot of stuff on Twitter about it today. Actually, people calling it the most mid-card Rumble of all time.
Yeah, I think that the whole Twitter thing, there's like a lot of scathing comments online, and I really,
always is.
I think it's the same as us here. We've been quite brutal on this, but like I said, I really enjoyed it when I was
only up until number 30. I think it would have changed our whole.
It was a really good show, and even with Big E coming in at 24, 25, where he did, I thought I've smashed that pick there. I thought Big E, but like you said, when Kofi went out he came in at about 27, I think, and went straight back out, and Big E just looked lost. And Kevin Owens didn't really do anything.
Very disappointing showing.
Did a stunner on Bad Bunny, which was a nice little spot, but other than that, Kevin Owens didn't do anything. And these are guys that have literally just come out of the title picture, and I feel like they should have been in the last couple at least. Like I don't mind Drew McIntyre being there, 100% agree with that. But
do you know what's funny? I've just remembered we were sat here on day one, us four, and we said someone from this match is winning the Rumble.
Yeah, we weren't wrong, were we?
Yeah, it was Brock. We were right.
we didn't think it was going to be Brock.
We thought we won of the other four. But yeah, interesting that we actually got that prediction right.
Yeah, well done.
Again, a real show of highs and lows, wasn't it? A real mixture of highs and lows. But that's why we love wrestling, because it is unpredictable or predictable, whichever way you want to look at it. But it was good. We all got excited. We're all passionate about it. Now we're all a bit pissed off about it. But it's going to be good.
I prefer to be like this and be a little bit salty about it and whether, because it's made me care about it.
Yeah,
it's not like it's
we're all invested, aren't we?
I was going to say if
I should hope so. We've been sat on here for an hour and a half chatting about it, so you should think we're invested.
I was going to say at least there wasn't a finish where it's got to the end and we'd like, I just don't care about that. at all. That just doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Well, we all can't wait for Monday Night Raw to see what happens.
I think Brock's going to be there as well. He's going to announce who he's fighting, as if we need that announced. But...
Yeah, I did laugh at the end when Michael Cole said, "I wonder what champion he's going to choose." I was thinking, well, maybe the guy that screwed him earlier.
Yeah, Heyman's just screwed him.
Not the one that just beat you.
Although Lashley did beat him, so he has got gripe for both.
Yeah, but...
How many? What is it? 60 odd days to Mania now?
Yeah, 62, 63, something like that. Yeah.
So Roman's title reign's gonna go at least 560 odd days then.
Yeah. Roman's not losing the belt, is he? Before Mania, he can't.
No,
he can't.
Unless it goes in the chamber.
I say, I'll be surprised. Honestly, I'll be surprised if Lashley, Becky, or Charlotte drop it either. I think that would be the 4 champs going into Mania at this point, because I just don't know why you'd drop Lashley. He's the newest champ.
Right, he's not going to drop it before Mania.
Yeah, Becky and Charlotte are the 2 biggest women, and they need them for the big matches, so they're going to have them as champs.
I don't know. I think I'd prefer to see Lita, for instance, as the champ up till Mania, and then someone wins it off Lita at Mania. But I suppose Lita's never had a Mania pop, has she? So that's what they might be doing with that.
Yeah, and maybe Lita gets the Mania shot. I'll be surprised if she's champ.
I think it's Charlotte and Ronda.
I would like it. I would like it if she was champ, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we may have exhausted our batteries there.
I think we need to charge.
Recharge.
Yeah, low on batteries, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, you can check this out on wherever you get your podcasts. As also on YouTube, you can see all of our faces. Tizzle's face for the first time, so you can put a face to the voice. And we'll be back on Thursday as usual. Well, it'll be out Friday morning. Sorry, for our weekly review, which won't include SmackDown this week really, because that was all Rumble hype. So we'll kind of do that as usual. But I think importantly, follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. We're also on Facebook as well, Recharge Wrestle, although we're not quite as active on there. We will be posting our prediction. There's a mug from Krusty. We'll be posting our prediction results tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And obviously, for those of you that took part last time, there is a chance to win a WWE or AEW t-shirt at the end of the year. So keep predicting. I think the next pay-per-view is, what is it, Fisher? Is it
Elimination
Chamber? Yeah.
Evolution. Oh no, yeah. So Chamber's on a Saturday night, I noticed actually. So that's
it's not even. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah, Saudi maybe it will be.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but it's on a Saturday, not a Thursday.
Yeah, it's
time
on Saturday.
zones crazy different.
Yeah, it should be really good.
Yeah, but it's just usually it's on a Thursday because it's usually when we record.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's just good. But yeah, so that's the next one. That's in a couple of weeks. So we'll be back with predictions for that as well. So like I say, keep an eye out, keep predicting, keep interacting. We love it. We've had loads of interactions recently from people, and we just want to keep it going. And yeah, we will see you then, guys.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Cheers.